Guys, I gotta be honest with you. I think that Ilia Topuria versus Arman Tsarukyan would be a colossal waste of everybody's time. I just gotta be honest with you here. I think that obviously, over a potential Paddy Pimblett or Justin Gaethje fight, obviously I do think Arman Tsarukyan stylistically is the fight to make. Now, Ilia Topuria, as we know, is saying that he's not doing it, that he would rather die than take a fight against Arman Tsarukyan. Like, he's just not doing it. And some people are saying it's because he's ducking. Is he ducking? I mean, we'll get into it, but I mean, first and foremost, didn't Ilia Topuria already do this before with Max Holloway? Like, didn't he already try to say that he's not going to fight Max and he refuses and it's not going to happen, and he went on a complete tirade about it and then just ended up taking the fight? I mean, I'm kind of getting some deja vu here, but, regardless, I do kind of understand his position. I mean, Arman Tsarukyan, he hasn't fought in over a year? He barely squeaked out that win over Charles Oliviera. He pulled out from the Islam Makhachev fight a day before it was meant to happen. And if you were to ask Arman why that was the case, he would have told you, well, everything was going great, everything was going swimmingly, and while I was doing nothing physically other than sweating, my back started hurting. That's what he would tell you. I think one look at what he was eating during fight week will tell you something otherwise. I also think, though, it's funny that, right before fight week, he was doing this mating dance for Nina drama. And I understand Arman does this all the time, but if you're meant to have a hurt back, you know what I mean? Like he said he hurt his back way prior, whatever. Why are you doing this right before fight week? You know what I mean? Like, especially for Nina drama of all people. I don't get it. But, regardless, right? I do understand where Ilya's coming from, not wanting to take the fight. I understand that, but I also think that when you just look at Arman's game, there are some absolute elite aspects to it. I mean, for sure, there's no question about that. I mean, when you look at one of his most recent fights, which at this point is not very recent ago, it was against Joaquin Silva. And there's a moment in that fight where Arman gets in on the takedown here, and Joaquin Silva hits him with a perfect whizzer. I mean, I understand a lot of MMA fans are just going to go, no, well, that doesn't count because Joaquin Silva's not, an elite fighter. I get it, but if you're just looking at the technique here, Joaquin Silva, first of all, he himself is a very muscular, imposing guy, black belt in jiu-jitsu, for whatever that's worth. I'm telling you, technique-wise, this is a perfect whizzer. It's meant to really force Arman's shoulder down and really kill any sort of takedown attempt here. And Arman lifts his leg and runs him over through the whizzer. I get it, it's Joaquin Silva, but I'm telling you, that is kind of a problem. That shows off, first of all, how high level Arman's wrestling is, but just how fucking strong he is. And I mean, you look at this sequence right here, they're up against the fence, and Arman is fighting really hard for underhooks. Now, if you guys remember all of my, past breakdowns about Shavkat Rakhmonov, who's a great example for this, you would know that clinch takedowns are very hard to hit in MMA. I mean, they just are. Shavkat Rakhmonov, it's funny, going into the Ian Gary fight, so many people were just expecting, Shavkat was supposed to run through Ian Gary with the grappling. We knew that wasn't going to be the case because Shavkat's takedowns are very clinch heavy. They're very, judo, sambo, kind of Greco-Roman-esque. Those are so hard to pull off in MMA. And Shavkat struggled hitting those kinds of takedowns on pretty low-level fighters. Well, again, Joaquin Silva, jacked, black belt, just got manhandled right here from the clinch takedown. Just legitimately manhandled. The Charles Oliviera fight, someone who is an extremely high-level grappler. Charles runs into this takedown, hits an amazing scramble to get back up to his feet. Arman stays in the clinch, gets the body lock, eventually just runs him over. I mean, Arman Tsarukyan is extremely physically strong, and he's explosive, and he's high-level from these positions. And I think another aspect of Arman's grappling that is absolutely elite is the ground and pound. I mean, his ability to drop elbows from close guard is pretty ferocious. I mean, dude, that Joel Alvarez fight was kind of gross. That Joel Alvarez fight was kind of disgusting. It was just ferocious the way he was able to land from there. Listen, Charles Oliviera is so good at staying safe from the bottom position. He's so good. It's really hard to unload ground and pound on Oliveira. And, for a lot of that fight with Arman, he did do a good job negating a lot of it. But, man, round 2, he ate a lot of elbows. And I'm telling you, that's not normal against Oliveira. Arman is elite with the ground and pound. He is a problem in these areas. And I think that you look at when Ilia Topuria fought Charles Oliveira, I think one thing you just cannot deny, Charles did seem a fair bit stronger than he was, which, makes sense. Ilia went on record to say he did not put on any extra weight to go up to 155. He only cut less. So, obviously, you're not going to be as strong as you were at 45 as you are at 55. When Charles first initially shoots, he gets to the double unders, shoves Ilia up against the fence. Now, obviously, Ilia Topuria is an extremely technical grappler. No one's denying that. Charles goes for this throw right here. He's trying to use this knee to almost trip Ilia as he turns over, but right before he goes for it, Ilia gets this underhook right here. So, as they hit the ground, because of this underhook, Oliveira cannot turn into him, so he ends up on the bottom. But, of course, Charles doesn't really mind being in this position, so, he chooses to stay there. Afterwards, Oliveira goes in for the clinch again. Ilia tries to disengage and almost falls over as he's disengaging. Again, clearly, Oliveira is a 55er. Ilia was a 45er. I do think he looked a lot stronger in a lot of these exchanges. And, like we just looked at, Arman Tsarukyan's way stronger than Oliveira is. That is just something you cannot deny. Because of the build, because he's shorter than Oliveira, he's jacked, and, I don't even really want to use the term girthy when describing Arman Tsarukyan, but he's girthy. He's a big, strong guy. But, of course, being smaller does have its advantages. Like Oliveira admitted recently that, he made a mistake trying to trust his hands so much and that Ilia was way quicker. Ilia, being the KO artist that he is, the speed and the quickness advantage he had was, a big reason why he was able to land this shot as cleanly as he did. But, regardless, when you look at somebody like Arman Tsarukyan, a lot of Ilia's technical ability could kind of get muted if Arman's only goal is to get in on a takedown and smash him. That's it. You know what I mean? I don't know what Ilia has flat on his back. In the Bryce Mitchell fight, not a lot. Of course, though, Ilia Topuria is really hard to take down because he has so much weight on his lead leg. He's so good at down blocking takedown attempts. The thing is, though, when you look at Bryce Mitchell, he isn't even a big 45er. Obviously, now he's fighting at 35, and he's not that strong of a pure wrestler. His jiu-jitsu is really the best aspect of his grappling game. Someone like Arman theoretically just needs to try to shove Ilia up against the fence. And, based on what we've seen, I do think he's going to have a big strength advantage. If he can get Ilia down, all of Ilia's technical ability sort of flies out the window if he's just put flat on his back, mixed in with the ground and pound ability of Arman. I think you could make a case that this could be, problems for Ilia. Though, with all of this being said, to address the title of the video, the reason I think this fight's a waste of time is because Arman Tsarukyan's going to get knocked the fuck out. And, when we go back to that Joaquin Silva fight, Arman actually had some moments of landing some good shots. Like, he looked genuinely kind of quick here, stepping in, landing straight shots, actually mixing in the occasional kick after his punches. Here's the problem, though. He is not hiding these entries at all. Like, he's not hiding it in the slightest. He's just choosing to step in during arbitrary moments, trying to land shots. And it did not take long for someone like Silva to recognize this and start timing counters off of Arman's entries. Again, you have to hide when you're going to be entering into range, especially against a power puncher. But Arman just was not doing that. And that is why, when again, Arman right here arbitrarily chooses a moment to close the distance with a 1-2, and right as Arman enters, he times a clean hook, rocks Arman really, really, really badly. Of course, it's impressive that while he was almost knocked out, he zombie wrestles to survive. And, look, one may say, well, he didn't respect Silva like he would respect Ilia Topuria, so maybe this argument's null and void. Well, I would agree with you if it wasn't for, at the very start of round 3, right after almost getting knocked out, he just goes right back to being super aggressive, not hiding his entries, and just going after him with the exact same combinations that he was prior. And, the openings are there. And, he gets tagged here a couple of times. The difference is, though, Ilia Topuria, being a 45er, is going to be so much quicker than Arman. He is going to be way more quicker than Joaquin Silva was. You look at this sequence right here where Oliveira just steps in and cracks Arman, stumbles him briefly. Look, it's going to be really difficult for Arman to actually pressure Ilia at all. And as soon as he does, Ilia's speed and quickness advantage is going to be otherworldly here. If I'm Arman Tsarukyan, I'm diving halfway across the octagon to try to get in on takedowns because I don't want to enter the pocket with Ilia at all. But, again, Ilia's not easy to get deep on takedowns against. I think it's going to be really hard. I think that Arman does have advantages here on paper. But over a 5-round fight, the notion that Arman is not going to give Ilia this is kind of unlikely, I think. Because, look, Arman is going to have to try to set up a takedown somehow. Because Ilia Topuria is fighting in that boxing stance, because there's a lot of weight on his lead leg, and because he's always walking you down and trying to pressure you and put you on the back foot, it's gonna be so hard to get in on takedowns without trying to set it up. The problem is, though, again, the advantage from coming up from a lower weight class is you're way quicker and you're way faster. Sure, you're not quite as strong. Sure, your power doesn't translate exactly the same, but it doesn't matter when you're as accurate as Ilia Topuria is. It doesn't matter when you're as much of a sniper he is, who's only looking to clip you on the chin one clean time to completely end the fight and potentially put somebody like me on suicide watch if you happen to be doing it against, Charles Oliviera. As you can tell, I'm still scarred a little bit by that. It fucking Freudian slips every now and then. I don't think that Arman has shown the ability yet with his striking to be able to withstand a lot of the attacks Ilia's going to have. Now, it's a little difficult because he hasn't fought in over a year. Who knows? Maybe he has improved. Maybe he would really try to switch things up for Ilia. I don't know. But based on what we've seen, I think this fight might just be a waste of everyone's time. I think that Arman is just going to get clipped.